Vanshi, can you hear me? Yo, Vanshi,
Yes, yes. I'm just
there is a echo at your end.
yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
saw. I
the
I was logging into other
the
devices, so unka audio I forgot to turn it off.
mute the tab.
No,
That is the best
I
option.
joined via the other phone, so it's fine.
Acha, okay, okay, okay. No problem. So the session is being recorded. The session is also being live streamed. Okay. So we should be joining. We should be joined by the speakers very soon. Okay.
Yeah,
Just keep a close eye, although everything is moderated, everything is closed. Just to keep close eye. If someone with a speaker's name is joining, make them a co-host.
done.
Done. Sure. Okay. হ্যালো অরিন্দর নমস্কার বলছিলাম স্পিকারদেরকে জয়েন করিয়ে দেবেন হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে Oops, was I unmute here?
Yes, you were on. You were on unmute.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm making a Danny and
Lots of devices.
co-host. They have joined.
Make them co-host. Make them co-host. Where are other team members? শ্রেয়সী জি নমস্কার আচ্ছা জাস্ট এ সেকেন্ড আপনাকে co-host বানাচ্ছি তারপরে আপনি আনমিউট করতে পারবেন জাস্ট গিভ মি আ মিনিট
I have made Sharoshi ji co-host.
শ্রেয়সী জি নমস্কার
Namaskar, namaskar. Happy International Human Rights Day to all.
Sure. Thank you. And our team is here. We are just waiting for the speakers. They will be joining in, let's say, 5 minutes.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Siddharth, for hosting this very, very needed, talk. And I hope all the links have reached the speakers, Siddiq Bhai and Nuran Nobi Bhai. They have got it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
ठीक है. I just wish this to be a very big success. And I hope
Thank you.
many people would be willing to join. Have we shared it on LinkedIn, Siddharth?
Yeah, yeah, we shared it on LinkedIn yesterday itself.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure many people are intrigued by the ongoing things in Bangladesh, and they would definitely love to be a part of this very enriching
Abs-
discussion. We
Absolutely.
wish
And
you
we are
luck.
also live streaming this on our YouTube channels as well. So for anyone for
Right.
whom Google Meet is a bit problematic, they can obviously join from
Right.
YouTube link.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful arrangements. And hats off to all of you for arranging this in within a day almost. You guys are
Uh,
great at arranging things, right? So I
that's
wish
something
you all the luck.
which my team is good at. I am as good as them.
Definitely. Definitely. And the director is always the trend setter. Only because you are so committed, everybody follows the rule.
Yes. They are much more talented than me, though. Thank you so
Definitely,
much, Shreyashi.
definitely. Hats off. Ah, definitely. Namaskar. Huh?
Namaskar,
Okay.
namaskar. To all the participants who are joining us for this session, I welcome you. We'll begin this session in next 5 minutes. We are just waiting for the speakers to join since they are joining from overseas. Uh, it will take some time, just 5 minutes, and then we will begin this session very shortly. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you. There is a small video which our team has put together, keeping the current situations in Bangladesh under the illegitimate regime of Yunus. And I'd like to play the video in the meanwhile that we are waiting for our speakers to join. So just give me a minute and I'll be playing that. Thank you.
Sir, the audio.
Looks like there is some issue with the audio. Let me figure this out. Okay, so Anjit sir, you are the meeting host right now, so you can unmute yourself. Just if you can confirm the audio and video from your end, sir. Yeah, we can perfectly see you, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'll go video.
yeah, your video is also perfect, sir. So we are just joining for our speakers to join, sir, and we'll begin this session very shortly.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Well, we have seen what has happened in Bangladesh over the last 17 months, and there have been several reports which has come out to do with human rights abuses that have taken place. It's been a really sad state of affairs as far as the state of law and order is concerned to do with human rights. It has highlighted over the last, more than a year now, of a rise in political violence, mob killings, sexual violence against women, vandalism at shrines, and attacks on journalists in Bangladesh. And it's been human rights index has, I think, gone way below what it should have been. And the way it was, during the time of Prime Minister Madam Sheikh Hasina. But I think what has happened now is under Yunus's regime, the entire concentration of the Yunus's administration has been to do with eradicating whatever forms of any kind of protests that are going on, and anything that comes up, it's all been dubbed under the carpet, and that has actually risen to such a state that Bangladesh is right now. From a human rights perspective, it is lowest on the index. And there are several reports which has come out, and one of the such reports given by the the Dhaka-based Human Rights Support Society has clearly said that more than 150 people were killed. The number is much more than that, but it is as per the reports of the Human Rights Support Society. And apart from that, there have been some 276 mob violence incidents across Bangladesh till November, and it is like last. It's been now over quite a period of time till now. So I think from that perspective, one needs to understand and also assume that the way the administration is being run by the current regime, I would say it has only degraded, not just from a human rights perspective, but also it has degraded Bangladesh from where it was. And in the last, and whatever they may say in terms of, whatever progress or whatever correct, so-called quote unquote correct measures that they say they have taken have fallen all under the carpet, because it's nothing of that sort has happened. The truth right now inside the country of Bangladesh is really alarming. And there are several incidents which have gone unreported, and I think that's one of the main reasons why, if you actually see to raise up the numbers, it's really alarming. Alarming to see that the way human rights violations have taken place, and forget just human rights violations, it has been all kind of violence spread across all parts of Bangladesh. It's not just a certain particular areas, but it's also to do with even the minority side. And the minorities have been, there's been vandalism at shrines, and even attacks on journalists, as I said before. And this is, in a way, clearly says that the law enforcement has been a complete failure. And I think and apart from this, another aspect which I'd like to highlight here is the custodial torture, because there are several reports with us which say that there have been several custodial incidents of custodial torture which has led to prisoners' deaths. And remember, they are political prisoners. They are not prisoners like they have been accused of some other crime. They are pure political prisoners. And in a way, I have spoken to a few of them. And one of them told me, the way they have been treated inside the prisons right now is absolutely alarming. It goes back to the 16th, 17th, 17th century era. The way, the prisoners have been treated in the so-called that era, so to say. And it's clearly in fact, a clear message goes down, and that's very evident that it's not just human rights, but also from the perspective of the way the entire Bangladesh regime, current regime, has taken up to make sure that certain political forces are no longer in the in the shrine right now, and that's exactly why this kind of mob violence, mob killings have taken place. There have been mob killings even yesterday. Yesterday evening there was an incident, and I saw the video myself, and it's absolutely alarming. And there've been 88, 90-year-old, even 80-year-old people who have been forced outside of their houses and asked to go to jail. Now, what would an 88-year-old man do if the person is not sitting at home? And those guys have been sent to jail for what? For what crime? No crime at all. It's just pure political vendetta, and that kind of a political vendetta only can come from one aspect. That is, it's kind of a forced way of proving your point. That's what the current regime is up to, and it's very clear. And apart from that, remember, these human rights abuses also emanate from another aspect. That's the way those people, certain people in Bangladesh have now been asked to come in. And they have come from a country which I can, of course, name, that's Pakistan. And they have also made sure that anybody favoring the Awami League, anybody favoring India, should be brutalized dealt with a brutalized manner, and if possible, to remove them from the face of Bangladesh. That's exactly what's happening right now. So I think we'll go ahead and listen to the panel and see what the speakers have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for insightful address on the situation in Bangladesh right now as it runs. We have a great panel today, and we'll now begin this session. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, respected speakers who have joined us from around the world, and participants, a very warm welcome to all of us. On behalf of Red Lantern Analytica, it is my honor to open today's webinar, which is aptly titled Democracy and Dissent, Examining Human Rights Violations in Bangladesh, which is being organized on the meaningful occasion of United Nations Human Rights Day. Human Rights Day, as it is a reminder of the universal commitment to dignity, justice, and equality. And yet, as we reflect on these ideals, we must also confront the challenges that persist, especially where democratic expression and dissent has come under strain, which is today's Bangladesh, a nation which is having a rich history of struggle, sacrifice, and aspirations. And it also faces increasingly urgent questions from the world about the current situations which persist over there. This webinar aims not only to examine violations, but also to understand the broader context of things. We are deeply honored to be joined by an exceptional panel of speakers, each bringing invaluable insights, which they will share, which have been shaped by years of public service, activism, scholarship, and legal expertise. We welcome Barrister Mohibul Hassan Chaudhry, who is former Minister of Education, Government of Bangladesh, and his experience within governance and public policy will offer us a critical perspective on state institutions, democratic accountability, and the complex relationship between authority and rights. We also have the privilege to have Dr. Nooran Nabi, who is a freedom fighter and chairperson of Bangladesh Human Rights Watch. He is a veteran of Bangladesh's struggle for independence and a lifelong advocate for justice. He brings with his discussion moral clarity and historical depth to today's session. We will also welcome engineer Mohammad Siddiqui, who is human rights activist and a political analyst, and with his long-standing involvement in civil society and rights advocacy, he will help us interpret current trends and issues in Bangladesh's political future. And finally, we have also been joined by Barrister Masood Akhtar, who is advocate of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. His legal expertise will offer us a vital understanding of constitutional things which stands currently in Bangladesh right now. Together, this distinguished panel will bring us a rare combination of government experience, historical insight, and legal scholarship. With not wasting much time now, we will now begin this session. And I will now like to invite as our first speaker, Barrister Mohibul Hassan Chaudhary, Nofal sir. Sir, over to you. You are muted right now, sir. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor here today. I'd like to convey my gratitude for this invitation. It is an honor that you have invited me, and I have been listening to Mr. Ayanjit Sen's his speech, and there were very important points that he was raising. So from my side, what I wanted to sort of share with the panel here today is that today Bangladesh stands at a very critical juncture of its political and social and constitutional life. What has happened, I don't want to reiterate what the other speakers would have already said and will be saying. I just wanted to bring about one particular point here is that since the beginning of our journey in 1971, majority of our people wanted a departure from the communal politics of Pakistani elite, from the Islam-based political narrative that was sold to the then people of East Pakistan. And we therefore opted for a secular political structure in our country, despite it being a majority Muslim nation, because our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, he believed that communalism and religion-based politics should not have any place in public life, as it breeds intolerance, as it breeds extremism, and it threatens the very existence of the state. And in fact, our decision to part with Pakistan was based on this premises that we do not believe in this two-nation theory, which is based on religion. And we wanted to prove Jinnah wrong. Now, unfortunately, after his brutal killing by the army of Bangladesh, or a splinter group within the army, the state's character was changed into an Islamic state. Several provisions of the constitution was forcefully changed through military ordinances, military proclamations, and thereafter, for a long time, state institutions, in an express and implied way, tried to appease the extreme elements of society and also gave rebirth to the political parties which were based on religion, because our father of the nation at the very beginning banned all the political parties which wanted to do politics on the basis of religion, because for him and for the founding fathers, all those who were behind our independence, there were no religion should not be there should not be a political party solely based on religion, meaning we are not going to allow a Sharia-based society or a religion-based constitution, or public institutions would draw their public policy ideas or philosophies from any particular religion. So that was the thought at the very beginning. But thereafter, what happened was that successive military dictators wanted to appease the extreme elements. And during that time, you would remember also the Western trend. Unfortunately, the West, I mean, if I'm allowed to use the word, especially the United States and their allies, for some reason felt that the creation of Bangladesh was a defeat to them, and it was a victory of India and the allied forces who were at that time with USSR. So from that time onwards, they wanted Bangladesh to be closer to the Gulf Arab countries, and as we know, a lot of them have a very sort of a very fundamentalist view of religion, Wahhabi-based, Salafi-based Islam that is practiced in the Gulf Arab, which was imported into Bangladesh, and several political parties were promoted, especially by the Pakistan establishment at that time and the military establishment of the country at the time. So this had changed the social and political fabric of the country. For many years, it was happening, and we have been fighting against this, what we say, political evil force. We call it political evil force because they did not believe in the spirit of our liberation. They did not believe in the ideology that we fought for. But it was state-sponsored assistance. They were all state-sponsored. And what happened eventually was that because of large-scale radicalization of society, and also because at some point they were able to gain enough support, or at least from a percentage of the population, and they were able to they were working on making the country into a terror hub. For many years, the military establishment, as guided or directed by the Pakistan's intelligence service, had been harboring terrorists who wanted to disintegrate India, at least in the northeastern region of India. For many years, Bangladeshi establishment were helping insurgents in northeast of India, especially the Ulfa rebels and the Mijos and the Boros and the Naga rebels, and wanted to create as much trouble as possible in the northeastern region of Bangladesh. And this started to change as soon as our government took over in 2009. You have to remember that under our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's leadership, we were only in power for 5 years between 96 and 2001, but then we were ousted again by a clandestine military coup, because during the time of election in 2001, our activists were not even allowed to cast their votes, and they were all incarcerated, they were all arrested en masse, and then the BNP and Jamaat Islami, they held a government for 5 years. During that time, we had seen illegal arms being shipped to India, destined to go to rebels in India. And there was a large find of almost 10 trucks full of weapons in Chittagong, where I come from. At that time, my father was the mayor of Chittagong, and despite being the mayor, he raised the point in the public, in the media, in front of the media, that these weapons were destined for Indian rebels, and that put the government on alert. And they had to admit that in the end, these were illegal weapons sent by who they don't want to disclose, and it was just one consignment out of many. And of course, these dark forces, we had deep state elements from different countries, from the east to the west, who were hell-bent on causing trouble inside India using Bangladesh or Bangladeshi soil. And as a result of this kind of, geopolitical terror exporting or terror breeding activity, people of Bangladesh were left out. They didn't have their basic needs met. Their life expectancy was poor. Their quality of life was poor, because the government's job was to facilitate these dark forces and the extremist forces. They weren't concerned about the majority of the people who wanted their basic necessities, So, and most of the state funds were being used by these elites who either took it for themselves or to facilitate criminal activities within the country. And thereafter, when we took over in 2009, the entire terrorist infrastructure, which was being assisted by the state of Bangladesh, was dismantled overnight by our leader, Sheikh Hasina. And as a result of which, that in the northeastern region of India, there's no longer any insurgency, because they were all caught overnight. Their financial sources were seized and assets were frozen, and they were all arrested in mass, and the entire terror infrastructure collapsed. And also, not just those who were operating in India, but also the elements which were inside Bangladesh, especially aligned with some religious, political, or extremist political parties. They were also apprehended. We had foiled many terror attacks, but that time the situation was more conducive to the West, because after 9/11, the Western governments were also very proactive in assisting our government to regulate these terror elements. For many years, this was the case. We had good working relationship with United States, United Kingdom, Europe, because, as you know, we have 170 million people and a big diaspora. A big population of Bangladeshis live in Europe and also in the US and the UK. If you have the country converted into a terror haven or extremist sympathizing nation, then it directly affects the diaspora as well. They draw inspiration from the mother country, and they can create trouble in the countries where they're currently hosted or based in. And the Western governments at that time did appreciate our efforts to dismantle local and international terror infrastructure. And but then some of these political parties were not very happy. For them, it is our only tool to keep playing a geopolitical dirty game with India. Or they had been traditionally anti-Indian in their political stances for no reason. India had not done anything wrong to these parties, neither to Bangladesh. Of course, Bangladesh owes its existence to India. Our people have fought together, gave blood together, but these people had then got many of the international human rights organizations into this. In running propaganda against us. Now, I want to bring this issue of human rights organization into this discussion because, of course, the theme of today is human rights. When terror elements were violating human rights of our progressive people, of our secular bloggers, of our minority communities, of our politically liberal individuals, of course, their human rights were not an issue for many of these human rights organizations. But as soon as they were apprehended, they were put in custody, they were put in trial, and they were questioning the entire process, including the trial that we had held for the genocide committed by the collaborators of Pakistani army of 1971. It was well documented that more than 3 million people had died. Acts of genocide was committed during the time of the liberation war. And it was our commitment to the people that we will try these individuals who were directly contributing in the killing of our innocent citizens during that time. And they questioned the entire process of the trial. The International Crimes Tribunal that we had actually restarted in the country, which started in 1973, but then it was off for many years. But we restarted the process of the trial, and you will see that the same tribunal which was formed to try the war criminals now has been turned into a forum to try for the incidents which had happened in 2024. Now, this government has absolutely no mandate to make any change in any fundamental law through any temporary legal instrument, but that's what they have done. I mean, of course, Barrister Masood is here, and and many of you will be aware that an ordinance passed in absence of Parliament is not really a permanent law. I mean, Parliament, whenever they sit, they can just simply refuse to ratify the particular ordinance. But this ad hoc measure was brought in by this government to try us for the riotous situation of 2024, which is profoundly, fundamentally not legally sustainable, because the law is not permanent yet. It has not been given any kind of permanence by the parliament, by any elected parliament. So, but then of course, these international organizations, some of them are absolutely silent on this particular view, that on this particular point, that the tribunal itself is illegally constituted because they don't have the mandate to try regular criminal allegation of regular criminal offenses in the country. They really simply don't have that mandate. Even the UN report that they had concocted did not say that there was any genocide in 2024. There was no targeted killing of any particular group of people of society. It was a riotous situation. The police were attacked. Police stations were being burned. Awami League activists were being targeted and killed. And as a result, they had to fire in self-defense. And of course, there were casualties, and those are regular casualties, and they have to be investigated under our regular criminal laws. But they wanted to shift all of this to the tribunal just to speed up the process of convicting our leader Sheikh Hasina. And I'm also indicted in many of the cases. My episode will come later. They have already filed some charge sheet against me, and so far I have 170 murder cases in regular courts, and trials pending in the so-called International Crimes Tribunal. So they are targeting each and every individual, not just within the political party of Awami League or the government, but also people who are from different political parties, different political background, and progressive individuals who stood up for the spirit and ideology of 1971. I mean, it's not about who is against India or for Bangladesh or against Bangladesh. It's not like that. Anyone who stands up for anything that is progressive, anything that is secular, they're now calling them as collaborator of the fascist. Apparently, we are fascist, although they are the ones who are running everything like fascists. Now, we feel that at this critical juncture, we have to unite the country and take assistance from all our friends abroad, organizations like yourself, and also the governments of India, United States, United Kingdom, European Union, because they also have to be reminded, or at least be made aware of the fact that there is a big diaspora of Bangladeshis in the West, and from Australia to Canada. And that diaspora is in the risk of being radicalized because the mother country is now being turned into a radical nation because of this concerted effort by the radicals and the extremists. If that happens, then it affects the diaspora. I mean, Bangladesh is maybe Bangladesh geographically a very small country, but the diaspora is huge. It is almost the 7th biggest population in the world in terms of the size of the population. So anything happening in Bangladesh has a global impact. From Europe, from Italy to Canada, from Kolkata to Bombay, because whether it is admitted or not, diaspora of Bangladeshis are everywhere, irrespective of the religion. And if they find a safe haven for terrorist activity, within their country, within our country, then of course these are going to have a massive impact across the world. So we have to raise our voice now. We have to stop these activities which are being promoted, sponsored, assisted by the Yunus regime, and have to pressure the military, which still continues to support the Yunus regime, to sack this government, oust this government, and hold a free and fair, inclusive election. If there is an inclusive election in the country, even by tomorrow, where they include everyone, the extremists will not have any stake in policy decision. And therefore, the country will be saved and this global threat will be eradicated. So this is where I would like to end my deliverance here, that we all have to work together to raise an awareness that Bangladesh may be a small country geographically, but what happens there can have impact in globally. The scale of it could be a lot worse than what happened in ISIS-dominated Syria, Iraq, and Libya, Lebanon, these kind of areas. So we have to take proactive action from now on and preempt any attempt to turn the country into a terror haven. Thank you very much. And I'd like to hear from other panelists here. So thank you for giving me the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister Mohibul Hassan Chaudhry Naufal sir. It was an absolute privilege to hear your views on the current state of Bangladesh. Moving ahead to the second speaker, we will have the privilege to listen to Dr. Nooran Nabi, who is Mukti Jodha and chairperson of Bangladesh Human Rights Watch. Nooran Nabi sir, over to you. You are muted, sir. You can unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself, sir? Nooran sir? Just unmute yourself, sir. You are muted right now, sir. Just unmute yourself. Can someone help Vanchi, if from the team, you can help him unmute?
Sir, I think you will find it in the bottommost panel.
Sir, আপনি mute আছেন, unmute করে দিন নিজেকে.
He said he's trying.
Okay.
Dr. Siddharth, আমি একটু হেল্প করতে পারি?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Please go ahead.
স্যার, আপনার ওখানে একটা মাইকের মতন আইকন দেখতে পাচ্ছেন? ওই মাইকের আইকনটাতে একটু কাইন্ডলি ক্লিক করুন, তাহলে ওটা আনমিউট হয়ে যাবে। আপনি ফোন বা মোবাইলের নিচের দিকে বা ল্যাপটপে যেটাতেই বসেছেন তার নিচের দিকে একটি ক্যামেরার আইকন আছে, তারপরে একটি মাইকের আইকন আছে। সেই মাইকের আইকনটাতে ক্লিক করলেই হয়ে যাবে। ওহো, in case sir ওটা না, যদি in case it is technically unavailable, what we can do is, Dr. Siddharth, Mr. Vanchi can call sir in a video call format from WhatsApp. And then Mr. Vanchi can point the camera towards him so that everybody can hear what sir is saying. That would be very helpful. Okay?
Absolutely. So what we can do is that we can have the third speaker here, that is Engineer Mohammed Siddiqui, and we'll try to connect with Nooran sir, the next.
Through WhatsApp.
Yeah, through WhatsApp. That will be
sir, meanwhile যদি আপনি পারেন, ওই মাইকের একটা পিকচার আছে স্মাইলি গুলোর পাশে, ওটাতে ক্লিক করলে ওটার হাইলাইটটা চলে যাবে। সেটা যদি আপনি পারেন তাহলে তো খুবই ভালো। ইউ স্টে অন স্যার টিল ইউ রিসিভ দ্য ফোন কল ফ্রম মিস্টার ভাঞ্চি। ঠিক আছে স্যার? ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
ঠিক আছে। So next, moving to the next speaker, I'll now like to invite Barrister Masood Akhtar, who is an advocate of Supreme Court of Bangladesh. Sir, it will be a privilege to hear your views, sir. I'm just pinning you for all the participants. There, sir. Please go ahead with your address, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me in these very learned panels that I can see. It's a great pleasure to join you all and all the panelists here. However, in a very difficult circumstances, when my country is going through very difficult circumstances, I was, as you have mentioned, that is, I am an advocate of Bangladesh Supreme Court Appellate Division, and I have practiced in Bangladesh in various capacity as a lawyer. And also I'm a political activist, no doubt about it. And my background goes, that is, I was in United Kingdom for 22 years, then I moved back to Bangladesh to practice law. So I have the experience of practicing in United Kingdom and also in practicing in Bangladesh. But my story goes that on 2024, 8th of August, as Dr. Yunus was taking oath, I took the decision for my safety to leave the country with the advice of my family members and well-wishers and others, because prior to that, I was appointed as the Chief Legal Advisor of Grameen Bank, Bangladesh. And I was, as I was appointed by the Grameen Bank, Bangladesh, I was given tons of papers, documents to me, to my legal team, actually to find, because the Grameen Bank at that time actually conducted a very big 40 years within the history of Grameen Bank's inception and comprehensive audit. And they found serious irregularities and they found serious corruption allegations and documentations. So they appointed my law firm and my team to actually find legal issues, whether there is a legal issues that Dr. Yunus and that time those who are his cronies are to answer at the court of law. So as a lawyer, I took the, I found when the documents are presented to us, we found that is there are serious questions to be answered. There is huge embezzlement of funds, documents are showing all those things. There is serious misuse of the power Dr. Yunus unfortunately used during his tenure as the managing director of this Grameen Bank. So that is my basic background as I was working. Unfortunately, we couldn't complete our work because we were going through the very word Dr. Yunus used meticulously with the documents in such a way so that we do not bring any false allegation against Dr. Yunus, because he's an international celebrity, no doubt about it, internationally recognized person. So when we took the initiatives to work, to find and to bring him to justice, we were very meticulous about the documents. We are very thorough about the allegations. We were not bringing anything against him which are not supported by the documents. So though he left Grameen Bank, I think 2011, after the Bangladesh Supreme Court made a ruling that is he cannot no longer remain as the managing director. But quite interestingly, effectively, he remains there through his cronies up until 2018. You won't believe that. It happened under the radar of Bangladesh Awami League government as well, right? So Dr. Yunus enjoyed various benefits from successive government. Actually, after the independence of Bangladesh, Dr. Yunus was able to enjoy the favor from Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, next President Ziaur Rahman, President Hussein Mohammad Ershad, and especially our Prime Minister, that time Sheikh Hasina. Actually, if you add the favors that Sheikh Hasina gave to Dr. Yunus, but how Sheikh Hasina was fooled by Dr. Yunus is very simple things. Dr. Yunus knows how to fool the people. I give an example. On 2024, 5th January, I think I made a press conference in front of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh, in which I actually, in 26 minutes press conference, it was in reply to his another press conference. I did that press conference on behalf of Grameen Bank, in which through documents I was able to show to the people that is how, and I coined a term for him. It's called he's a pathological liar. Unfortunately, I had to coin this term based on the documents, information that was presented to me as a lawyer. However, unfortunately, he actually brought a case against me when he became the so-called chief advisor, which is a completely illegal and unconstitutional post for Bangladesh. And he brought a case against me. My allegation, the allegation against me is only, this is the allegation against me, is that I have called him a pathological liar. Now the thing is, quote unquote, it was based on the evidence, documents presented to me by the Grameen Bank. On that basis, I had to coin this term, that is, he is a pathological liar. But quite interestingly, 15 months on, now who in the world will disagree with me? That is, Dr. Yunus has presented himself to the world, to the people of Bangladesh, and to his own core supporter that he is nothing but a pathological liar. There is now broad agreement throughout the world that is Dr. Yunus is incapable of telling the truth, speaking the truth. He is, just giving you a simple example. Recently, Dr. Yunus, in front of the parliament, when he was adopting so-called this July Accord, he said to the Bengali people, Bangladeshi people, that his whole world is putting application to him for bringing the youth. They want the Bangladeshi youth to the world. But to his surprise, to his reality, what is happening today, even as I am speaking from UK, 9 UK universities, including the university which Dr. Yunus was a vice chancellor, has restricted Bangladeshi and Pakistani students for joining. Is the whole world, European universities, European countries, United Kingdom, now pairing Bangladesh with Pakistan? Because what is happening, while the European Union, the United Kingdom, America is have put Dr. Yunus, their poster child, their adopted child, in Bangladesh for their interest, but they're now concerned. That is, this child, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, while he is trying to deliver their interest, at the same time, he covertly actually empowering the terrorist group in Bangladesh, the fundamentalist group in Bangladesh, the religious dogmatic group in Bangladesh now are in charge. They have taken over our judiciary. They have taken over our, the guy who is the Secretary of State, that means the Interior Ministry. There is allegations against him, serious allegation, corroborated allegation against him. These gentlemen, the guy who is in charge of the security of the country, there are allegations against him, which are circulated in the media. That is, he was the founding father of the Hizb ut-Tahrir, an organization in Bangladesh which is banned in United Kingdom as well. Now, while I recently in a Twitter reply, I wrote to Sarah Cook, the what is called the ambassador or the High Commissioner in Bangladesh, British High Commissioner in Bangladesh, that is, she is actually mingling with the so-called Jamaati women. She's promoting them. But what these Jamaati women are doing, they are actually trying to restrict the rights of our women. The leader of Jamaat Islam in Bangladesh said the women will be offered 5-hour working hours. I'm a man. I'll be ready to work, say 24/7. And then women will come with work to 5 hours. So this is how they're controlling the power or the emancipation, that women emancipation we achieved in Bangladesh, especially under the rule of Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, who actually brought a huge change We saw Bangladesh, and I tell you, the economy of Bangladesh depends on the women empowerment. It is the women power. It is the women's hard labor. That is our more than 80% our export is garments industry. And that export is coming from the hand of our women. They want to now put tie on our women's hand. They want to actually restrict our women. This is what at the moment going on in Bangladesh under Dr. Yunus. The Dr. Yunus is actually what he's doing. He's telling people lies. One important thing about Dr. Yunus that we need to understand, that is this gentleman lies. And another thing is that he has huge wealth. He has accumulated. During my investigation, as I was working as a lawyer of Grameen Bank, I have seen documents in which, and I have in my hands, I have documents in which I can show that is how Dr. Yunus has funneled huge amount of fund from Grameen Bank to his other entities and to his personal gains. So he used a very complex method. I tell you an example. That is how Dr. Yunus funneled fund from Grameen Bank to other entities to his personal gain is it's a what you can say, it's a playbook guidance of money laundering. He uses the best money laundering techniques that world ever can found. He should be given a Nobel Prize for this. The Nobel Peace Prize for this, because Nobel Peace Prize is a tool designed for Western agenda. Unfortunately, it is shame on Norway, an European country that is very known for inside its country regime that is known for what is called transparency, good governance, and everything. But unfortunately, we find serious fishy smell with the dealings of Norway in Bangladesh, especially the Telenor. The company is called Telenor, which has stake in Bangladesh biggest telephone network called Grameen Phone. Believe it or not, Grameen Phone license was given to Grameen Bank. Somehow, even with the help of the brokers during the regime of Bangladesh Awami League, these brokers helped him because he was able to sell to our Prime Minister that whatever he is doing is for the women emancipation. Because that's how he fooled the world. He has fooled the America, he has fooled the British, he has fooled the the Western societies. That is all this. Even he fooled the Indians as well at times. He was quite well regarded as I think what Dr. Yunus has done by taking over illegally power, he has made our life easy. Because we were trying to expose him, his corruptions, his hunger for power, his concept that is he is above the law. Dr. Yunus unfortunately don't believe in law. He thinks he is above the law. That's why the contract I have seen when Dr. Yunus has signed as a managing director of Grameen Bank, give an example. He's giving a loan to his own company in which he's a director shareholder and his father is the managing director shareholder. His brothers, sisters are managing directors, shareholders. His father is the managing director. He's signing a contract with Grameen Bank to give a loan. If you read the Grameen Bank Ordinance 1983, Grameen Bank is allowed only to give loan for specific purposes. Is village force. It is written specifically who can get loan from the Grameen Bank. But Dr. Yunus, what he's doing, he's giving loan to a press, is a printing press, which owned by his family and himself. And in that loan, look what kind of transparency is it? In the loan, he is signing the document as the managing director of Grameen Bank. His father is signing the document as the managing director of Packages Corporation Limited. And guess who is the witness of this signature? Even he didn't brought anyone, not even a peon or an office assistant to witness the signature. He witnessed himself. In the witness box, it is again he signs as the witness. So that is how he actually operated in Grameen Bank. And I tell you, one thing he took his nerve, that is I stole, that is we had documents to expose, that is this so-called social business is nothing but social corruption. I coined this term for him, that is his social business is nothing but a social corruption or social deception. Why I did that? Because this is an interesting tool Dr. Yunus has devised in Bangladesh, perfected in Bangladesh, through which he can evade the taxes. He's a man who doesn't want to pay taxes. He wants to have everything. But he has created this when he was the managing director of Grameen Bank, violating the rules and regulation of Grameen Bank. He actually, what he has done, he created around 52 entities, though we have found record of 48 entities. Out of them, one of them is only business entities, that is Grameen Phone Limited. Only which one is making money? All of his social businesses are somehow subsidized by this Grameen Phone Limited, because it's a huge, it is the biggest company, I think, in Bangladesh, and it is a money-making machine. You can see every year, 1100 to 1300 crore is the dividends that Grameen Telecom Trust receives from Grameen Phone Limited, of which 34.2%, I'm not exact about this percentage, but close to that, 34.2% shareholding position is the Grameen Telecom Trust, another non-profit making organization, and that organization is receiving this 1100 to 1300 dividends. Rest of the dividends is 10% is in the stock market, and rest is around 62% is with Nortel, the Norwegian telephone company. Quite interesting. The initial agreement for the Norwegian telephone company Nortel and the Grameen Telecom Trust says that is the shareholding of Norwegian telephone company will never be more than 50%. Or sorry, that shareholding of Grameen Telecom Trust will never be less than 50%. However, now it is 34.2%. So why this alteration? Why this breach of contract happened? You need to, we were conducting investigation on this. We were getting there, but obviously we couldn't complete it. That is where the clue for his Nobel Prize rests. This is what Dr. Yunus says. Now, as I have spoken quite a lot, sorry about this, but however, as we come to the end, what we can see now, Dr. Yunus is creating Bangladesh under his 17 months rule is a lawless country. It's a safe haven for political extremists, especially religious extremists. He has released from the prison all the convicted terrorists who are known convicted terrorists. He has released them. We don't know where they now, whether they are in United States now, whether they are in UK now, or they are in India now. We don't know where they have gone. He has exported them to these countries. Now he's trying to bring Jamaat-e-Islam to the power, and he is trying to shut down the majority voice of Bangladesh. Bangladesh Awami League is the founding political party of Bangladesh. Bangladesh Awami League is the biggest political party in Bangladesh. They have now banned these activities of Bangladesh Awami League, effectively banning 55 to 60% people's voice. And now they want to take the revenge of 1971, because in 1971, these Jamaat were part of the Pakistan army. They fought shoulder to shoulder with the Pakistan army to defeat the freedom fighters of Bangladesh, the majority people of Bangladesh. But now their support for in Bangladesh could be 6% to 7%. That's the reality. That's the reality. That's what the history says. But with that support, they want to create a Taliban-style Bangladesh. They want to create a ISIS-inspired Bangladesh. And Dr. Yunus wants to create a Bangladesh so poor so that his NGO-backed NGO activities he can increase. And you can see yesterday he's meeting some people who are in the Panama Papers. So he is trying to get thousands of crore of Bangladeshi taka to siphon off from Bangladeshi market and create a Bangladesh which is always unstable. So we need world to understand. Especially we request our friend in India, that is what Dr. Yunus is trying to achieve is to destabilize the whole region. Destabilize, as Barrister Naufel has said, that is, we have Bengali diaspora all over the world. So radicalization is happening. Just I will give a small example, and before I finish my speech, thank you very much. That is, recently there was an incident in our East London, which was alarming, which caught the eyes of the far-right groups like the Nigel Farage. And he said he has never seen like this. Bengali boys with black dress, ISIS-inspired dress, were marching in Tower Hamlets in British Street. So this is what can happen if we allow Bangladesh to be ruled by Dr. Yunus and his cronies, the Jamaat Islam. The world will be a different place. The people of the world will understand that Jeffrey Epstein is a name now today many big people regret to have been associated with. I think there will be time when Dr. Yunus's name will be so toxic for the world leader to be associated with. So it's time that is we put a stop to this heinous criminal, to this person who is there nothing but for his personal vendetta. We need to stop it for the interest of Bangladeshi people, for the interest of Bengalis, for the interest of our neighbors, for the interest of the world stability. If we want a world, a peaceful, secular world, we need to stop this very urgently. Otherwise, we'll regret terribly. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me time to convey my message to the people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your address. Now we move on to the next speaker, and we have the privilege to welcome Dr. Nooran Nabi, who is a Mukti Jodha and chairperson of Bangladesh Human Rights Watch. Nooran Nabi, sir, over to you.
Thank you. Due to some technical problem, I was late to join. However, thanks to all the organizers for inviting me. As you mentioned, I'm a freedom fighter under the leadership of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. We established Bangladesh, and we have 4 distinct principles. One of them was secular society, economic development, and a country where people will live in harmony and peace. And daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Sheikh Hasina, during last 16 years, she followed that principles and made Bangladesh a role model for economic development. And that was not rhetoric from me or from Sheikh Hasina. It was recognized by international organizations such as World Bank, IMF, etc. But what happened? When she was forced to leave from the government, Yunus, Dr. Yunus, he was a puppet. He was installed by the conspiracy of national and domestic conspiracy groups. In last 15 or 17 months, he made Bangladesh a failed state. The normal standard definition of a modern state requires whatever index. He destroyed everything, like law and order, economic, social fabric, and it was a secular society. He brought the ultra-rightist terrorists just after taking power, as other speaker mentioned. He released all the terrorists, those who were convicted, and those organizations still banned in many foreign countries, including even Pakistan and America. So, though he was installed as a Nobel laureate in peace, expecting that he will establish democracy, he will respect human rights. In fact, he has proven himself by his own works, own words, that he is a prophet of violence. His main agenda is to destroy Bangladesh. How? He has been sponsored by these elements, those who oppose Bangladesh. I had to fight with them and many others, freedom fighters. Those Jamaat and Shibir, they are now in charge, and Yunus proudly says that they are his sponsors. New York Times mentioned that Yunus is the sponsor of religious fundamental groups in Bangladesh. So what he is trying to doing in Bangladesh as a puppet of Jamaat, Shibir, and also some of the foreign countries who were misled by his, his soft-spoken and so-called, this human rights protector, but in fact he has become a violator of human rights. We can give many examples. As for example, 300, 3,200 police officers were killed, police members were killed, and 400 precincts were looted, and their arms and ammunition are in the hands of the terrorists. But what he did, instead of putting those criminals on trial, he gave indemnity to those who killed police. And we know one very sympathetic or very touchy example, that in Sirazganj, one precinct has about 14 police officers. They were put on fire and burned to death alive, including a woman officer who was pregnant. He begged her for her life, but they did not. These terrorists did not spare her. So there are many examples that Yunus is a human right violator. He is a corrupt person. Earlier speaker mentioned that his role in Grameen Bank. He started as a Grameen Bank MD with 6,000 taka. And now he is worth of trillions of billions of trillions of dollars. He has investment in all foreign countries. So how did it, he credited himself with this amount of money, even becoming this, the what is called the chief of in interim government. He did himself favor with lots of money, like 660 crore takas tax evasion verdict. He relieved himself. And our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned that if someone has to pay 660 crore tax, then how much money he had. So he also did a lot of other illegal activities to benefit himself, license and other things. So in short, Yunus is a liar. He is a corrupt person. He doesn't believe in democracy. He doesn't believe in human rights violation, and he is the against the sovereignty of Bangladesh. Because through media, whatever we came to know, that he has given that illegal contact to foreign countries in reference to island, these ports and border security, all these things. And he has signed contract with foreign countries that this clause or rules of those agreement cannot be disclosed. This is nonsense. A sovereign country, when they make any contact with outside contact, there should be discussion, open discussion among the public, among the politician, among the parliament, and everything he has been doing the secretly. So he has no regards for the sovereignty of our country. His advisor for foreign affairs, he said more than 170 miles of our border is under the control of foreign countries. Then where is the protection of our country? So we can discuss many things about his anti-Bangladesh, anti-constitutional activities, and violation of constitution. Punishment is death. So he earned the death sentence for doing all these anti-Bangladeshi activities. And moreover, Bangabandhu, father of the nation, he led the country to liberation, independent country. And we say that if he was not born, possibly Bangladesh was not would not have been born. But he insulted Bangabandhu, he denied his role, and he encouraged to humiliate the freedom fighters. So he is also anti-liberation leader. He is the leader of Jamaat Shibir. So in short, I have to catch a plane to go home. In short, I would like to say he's anti-Bangladeshi. He's a pro-terrorist. He is anti-secular in principle, and he's a corrupt person. His only punishment is death sentence because he has violated the constitution, and constitution says that anybody who take power illegally, anybody who violate the constitution, his punishment is death, death sentence. But all these anti-Bangladeshi things he has been promoting, there is not only consequence among the 180 crore Bangladeshi, but it has consequence beyond the border. It has consequence to our neighbors, to the globe, to the Asian region. So he must be removed from power. In this discussion, always I said he has been removed from power, not today, not tomorrow. He has been removed from power yesterday. Otherwise, Bangladesh will be a banana state. Will lose our sovereignty. Will all the social fabrics and there is no more human rights under his regime. And Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina already gave a solution for this. And we are the expatriate Bengalis are trying all over the world to unmask his face that he is not a prophet of peace. He is a prophet of violence. He is a terrorist. Why I call him terrorist? This one who support terrorism, he is also terrorist. So Yunus is a terrorist. He is anti-Bangladeshi. So he must be removed by any means. Army has role, but unfortunately they are supporting the illegal government. This army, especially the chief of staff or the General Walker, he did not support a legally elected government. Rather, he supported and installed a illegal government, and he has been supporting during last 16, 17 months all the illegal activities of this government and supporting Yunus. So solution is very simple. He must be removed by any means, or either through people's uprising or through military coup or under the pressure of the foreign powers who supported him, believing that he is a believer of human rights, believer of peace, but in fact he is a prophet of violence. So I'd like to stop here because as I mentioned, I have to catch a flight to home. But thanks the organizer for organizing this important seminar with this distinguished panelists. I hope situation in Bangladesh will be changed, and after dark there is a light, after day, after night there is a day. So hoping that situation will change. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Dr. Nurul Nabi, of course, we also hope that things will improve in Bangladesh. Moving to the last speaker of today's session, we will now like to invite Engineer Mohammad Siddiq, who is human rights activist and political analyst. And with his long-standing involvement in civil society and rights advocacy, he will help us interpret the current issues in Bangladesh and implications for its political future. Over to you, Mohammed Siddiq sir. Uh, Mohammed Siddiq sir was here. I saw him as a panelist. He was there. I think he is having a bit of patchy network as his end. We'll just wait for him for a minute. Meanwhile, he joins. There is something which caught my attention, and it is that uh, since today's webinar is examining the current situation in Bangladesh, it is impossible to ignore two very deeply troubling things which strike at the heart of justice and democratic integrity of Bangladesh. First is the functioning of Bangladesh so-called International Crimes Tribunal, which is a serious alarm to everyone because which was once falsely marketed to be a mechanism for so-called accountability and historical closure has instead earned the reputation both at Bangladesh and abroad to be operating under as a political instrument rather than a proper court of law. Uh, its procedures lack transparency, and its disregard for international judicial standards should invite wider global criticism. And in practice, it resembles absolutely a kangaroo court where verdicts appear predetermined and due process are compromised. And when a politically and morally compromised individual weaponizes the judiciary, it is not only denying justice, but it also dishonors the memory of people who fought for the creation of Bangladesh for its survival. And this webinar dedicates to the spirit of human rights and compels us to ask questions. Can there be human rights without bringing an end to such kangaroo courts? And secondly, we must also address the nature of this so-called interim government under so-called chief advisor, which I will also like to call as the chief spoiler, Dr. Mohammed Yunus, which has presented itself internationally somewhere as a caretaker of human rights and democracy, but it is absolutely not. His actions on the ground tell a very different story, and instead of creating a neutral political environment, his authority appears to be systematically undermining the Awami League's ability to contest the upcoming elections. And this was done with a purpose that his strangle on the power can be prolonged. And democracy, as we know, cannot exist merely in speeches or declaration. It exists with the rights of all political parties to participate without fear and without discrimination. So I will also like to call out this, and that there should be a wider repression of the current regime in Bangladesh. It's not a regime, it's an unconstitutional individual who is at the helm of the affairs, and that the Awami League should have the right to fight the upcoming elections. This is something which my take was from all the speakers, and we are still waiting for our fourth speaker to join. Is there anything else which Dr. Ayende, since he is also covering, he has also covered Bangladesh for long. Yeah.
Can I
Please
add?
go ahead, sir.
Can I add a short comment? What you are discussing?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely,
this verdict against the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. You mentioned, we all know that it is illegal as a action by a illegal government, by a illegal court. And what we did, we formed a coalition, global coalition for secular and democratic Bangladesh, consisting about more than 60 human rights activists. We wrote a letter against this to United Nations Human Rights Commission and all the government who has stakeholder in Bangladesh crisis. And we are doing this campaign that The verdict against Sheikh Hasina is illegal by a legal government, by court. All these justice and the prosecutors in this court, they are also controversial person. So everything, whatever Yunus is doing, illegal against Bangladesh, and he is trying to destroy Bangladesh. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Ayanjeet, will you like to add something from the deliberations which we have seen till now? You are muted, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I would definitely, going back to the first speaker, Barrister Mahbul Hassan Chaudhry Novel, I think one thing which I would definitely like to reiterate out here is that right now, Bangladesh in South Asia, we always used to say as Pakistan being the epicenter of terrorism. But right now, it is Bangladesh because there are several Pakistani terrorist groups which are operating currently as we speak inside the Bangladeshi territory and of course not doing anything elsewhere with a clear intention of harming India. And that's something, of course, being aided by several Bangladeshi insurgent groups themselves. As I think Barrister Masud Akhtar, of course, we were talking about Hizbut Tahrir. So, now this kind of a scenario is now open to the world. And one very important aspect which has happened in the last 1.5 weeks is that international community, those whom Yunus considered as friends back in August, September 2024, have now changed the sides. So from that perspective, the international community has now gone against him. And remember what he did to do with those flags, showing the Indian part of the northeastern part of the country as part of Bangladesh is something definitely not worthy. Of course, but we heard about the way he got the Nobel Prize, but I would say that definitely one thing is sure that the way he operates, because I think another speaker very rightly pointed out, if I'm not mistaken, it was Dr. Nabi himself, that he has made Bangladesh a failed state. Because at the end of the day, I would also call him a terrorist at the same way, because if you are letting those terrorists from Pakistan enter Bangladesh, then you are making Bangladesh a heaven to terrorists. That means you yourself are a terrorist. So I would openly, clearly say this. Muhammad, Dr. Muhammad, I won't even call him a doctor because I know how he got the doctorate. Number one, Nobel Prize is separate because Nobel Prize is always a prize which, as I think it was pointed out very clearly, I'll not go into that. But from all perspectives, I would also term him as a terrorist because, of course, you are helping the terrorists out in Bangladesh. And why? You don't want just to harm your own country, but at the same time, you want to hurt India with the help of Pakistan. And there is ample proof of that coming out now. And he's nothing. I would call him by one word. He should be termed as the butcher of Bangladesh. I think that's the perfect word. And and from that perspective, I would, because whatever he tries to do against India, to a certain point, it has been communicated. If action do not follow, then, well, God save him. Because it's not about just somebody saying something on that line, but I would just like to say here that there is enough evidence from all perspectives, even to the global community right now, as we speak, of the way Bangladesh has been run, specifically with the help of these so-called, his own entourage, of course, aided by the so-called terrorists, because those terrorists are, they have been a hybrid model. I would call them a hybrid model of terrorists. Now coming over in Bangladesh, and the way they came inside Bangladesh, the way they came here, and also built their camps. And they're operating at their own leisure, at their own pace. So if Yunus, as the so-called quote-unquote chief advisor of the government, if you can't handle that terrorism, or those elements, then who is to be blamed? And on the one end of other end of the town, you are approaching a Canadian diplomat, a Canadian minister, with a flag of Bangladesh, which shows a part of India as part of Bangladesh. How dare he does that? How dare he does that? As an Indian, I would not just deplore it, but I would say strong international, some sort of action should be taken, initiated against him, because under no circumstances can you do that, even diplomatically. Because I'm now talking purely non-diplomatically. I am not a diplomat. I'm speaking the ground language. From that perspective, it's very clear. And one another aspect is that the way he harmed the minorities, he had been saying one thing to the press, international press, saying, "Oh, no, 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 minorities are all safe in Bangladesh." At the same time, as he's speaking, there have been lynching incidents, there have been killings, murders in different villages in Bangladesh, and of course, of the minorities. And those incidents are never coming into light because those have been somewhere dabbled under the bushes. And that's exactly what he has been doing. As I say again, there is enough evidence of all these incidents that I have talked about. So he should not be under the impression that he's running the country as if nobody's watching him. He is being watched from inside Bangladesh as well, not just from outside. So it's a matter of time, I believe, when the people of Bangladesh will realize whom they have, got there as the so-called chief advisor, quote unquote. And it's I think going to be clear in the days to come. And of course, the Grameen Bank episode is something which Barrister Masood Akhtar ji said. I think,
Dr. Anjit, I just wanted to say, people of Bangladesh did not choose him. If there is an election, there is doubt whether he will even get 0.5% vote from the public. So I think they just illegally took it over, and with the help of the army. And therefore, I think we should also, what we should also do, we should also point our fingers and also put pressure on these military who are supporting. And I mean, I think military should also keep in mind that, Bangladesh is not just India's neighbor. It actually is within India in terms of its geolocation, and therefore we have never we cannot even think of having this kind of territorial threat to India, and he's doing this with the help of this Wakaruzaman, and therefore we must also bring this to global attention that Wakaruzaman is also most likely assisting this crazy man who wants to be the Zelensky of Bangladesh, basically.
yeah, I think you put it very rightly, Barrister Naufal. Absolutely, I agree with you, because it's, of course, and he has, because initially, if you remember, he said that, okay, we'll be there for a few months and then we will conduct elections and do something. And those few months have never come, because he is, once in power, he wants to cling back to that, and in any form. And he is right now, as it has been evident very clearly, that he has been toying with the two political parties, Jamaat Islami and the BNP, of course, but mainly the Jamaat side, as to how to cling on to his power, not as a kind of a figurehead, laying the letting the way he wants to. He wants foreign forces to come inside Bangladesh and build up their own stuff. So in a way,
Yes.
he wants to take Bangladesh back to where it was in prior to 1971. So this is what Muhammad Yunus is all about. And I've studied about him in different perspectives since back for the last 20-25 years. And he's very good in one thing, as I think it was very well pointed out, that he's a brilliant liar. And I think the way this has come up, I think from the liar perspective, he's a brilliant one. He can speak to you saying that, look, there's a chair behind you, and the moment you turn back, he'll shoot you in the back. He's that kind of a person. So he's nothing but a blatant liar, and goes on. And if he sees that he can, some way or the other, turn people who are already against him, he'll go to any extent to lure them back towards them. That kind of a thing he has already tried in India with Indians, through several people, of course, of Bangladesh, and he has tried doing that. So it's not something which is suddenly coming out of the blue. It has been happening, and it has happened. But at the end of the day, one thing he knows, he should realize that whatever way of map he shows, map will always be in that map. When it will come to the law, and the way and the moment he comes down from his chair, he will find only one place to go. That is the gallows. He belongs to that place, and that's the place where he should be.
So I just want to
And
point
that-
out something, sir, if you allow. I just want to
Yes,
point
please
out
go ahead.
something, if you want, allow me, yeah? Okay, what it is, it's like while we're discussing all these things, we also should not take our eye from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Why I say that? From the Indian perspective, it is very important, right? Our current leader, means there is a rumor that is probably Khaleda Zia is already dead. They are just waiting 16th of December to announce it, to make it a sad day, like 15 August. They have presented as the death anniversary of our father of our nation, so that we cannot celebrate with India the Indian Independence Day. Similar way, they are planning. Perhaps this is a rumor going on, but however, from the Indian perspective, I want to put this thing in right. That is, you need to keep an eye on the BNP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Why? Now we can see the unholy alliance of three cruel foes, three unholy alliance. Why? Mr. Tariq Rahman, the current acting chief of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, was actively involved in destabilizing the Seven Sisters of India. He was the mastermind of 10 trucks ammunitions that our ex-minister, education minister, Mr. Naufel sir will know. That is, he was the mastermind of that 10 truck ammunitions when his father was the, Mr. Naufel's father was the mayor of Chittagong, and he masterminded that to destabilize India. And his Secretary of State, means the Interior Minister, Mr. Babu, who was imprisoned for his actions, and he is released now. So all the forces who want to destabilize India, and you can see the audacity that you have rightly said, sir. That is, if you are an Indian, you will be very cross. It gives you the legal right to make actions. What these elements want, that is, they want to recreate 1971 in a way to their narratives. They want to say, look to the people of Bangladesh, look, India is attacking us. But what? They are provoking India in such a way that is, India now have the legal right. When you say, I will, the son of Jamaat-e-Islami founder of Bangladesh, Ghulam Azam, the Brigadier General Azmi, he said he wants to sever India. How an Indian should take it? If somebody wants to sever my country, Bangladesh, how I would take it? I can see how the Indians are very maturedly reacting to this provocation. However, they need to understand there is a limit. As Dr. Abhijit sir has really, you have put together nicely, that is, diplomacy sometimes is not the only answer. Sometimes you have emotions. If somebody wants to destroy your country, what should be? So I just want to put to our panel, that is, Dr. Yunus, Jamaat and BNP, these three unholy alliances are united in one thing. They want to destabilize India. They want to bring India in chaos, which lasts 15 years. During the time of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we have ensured, that is, for the peoples of Bangladesh, the policy of Sheikh Hasina was, we want to establish Bangladesh, a progressive Bangladesh, a development for Bangladesh with the best possible relationship with our neighbors. It's a normal common sense. If you fight with your neighbor, you don't go anywhere. Look at Pakistan. Look at others. I give an example. I always tell, Bangladesh has a choice to be Dubai or to be Yemen. In a powerful neighbor's country, in the neighborhood in Saudi Arab, if the Yemen doesn't listen to Saudi Arab, so what happens? They're bombed every day. And Dubai, with the best possible friendship with Saudi Arab, they are prospering like anything. So that model actually Sheikh Hasina followed. We have the policy that Sheikh Hasina presented to the Bengalis is that we will have no menace for the Indians. They're our friends, they're our brothers. We are historic one people. So we have no animosity against them. Even we don't have animosity with the people of Pakistan. I think India doesn't have animosity with the people of Pakistan. It is the Pakistan military, it is the Pakistan terror network which we have animosity with. So Sheikh Hasina's policy was to create a Bangladesh, and which she delivered, have a peaceful neighborhood, best possible relationship with India. This government was saying that is Sheikh Hasina has given everything to India, but how many contracts they have now resigned it since they're coming to the power? So this is a unfortunate situation. So I should just request the panel that is be watchful of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and their leadership, because they are brothers in the crime. They want to destabilize India, which we don't want. The majority people of Bangladesh don't want. And the Bangladesh Awami League and the pro-independence forces don't want. So with that note, thank you for allowing me, giving me some time to put forward this argument in front of you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are indebted to this panel who devoted their time for today's session. And this brings us to a close of this session. I'll now like to invite Vanchinathan from the team of Red Lantern Analytica to extend a vote of thanks to all the speakers and the participants. Vanchi, if you can hear me, over to you.
Yes. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Absolutely, Vanchi. Please go ahead. Thank you.
First of all, good evening to one and all present here. As we come to the end of today's webinar, I want to take this moment to reflect what this conversation has helped us uncover. Over the past 90 minutes, we have heard powerful testimonies, nuanced analysis, and deeply informed perspectives on the evolving political and the human rights landscape in Bangladesh. These discussions have not merely broadened our understanding, but also reminded of us the human cost behind every statistics, every report, and every policy decisions. As we reflect on today's discussions, it is impossible to ignore the deep uncertainties and the distress that our neighbor, the Bangladeshis, are experiencing under the current interim government run by Dr. Yunus. There have been reports of political unrest, institutional strains, and continued human rights concerns that have raised difficult questions about his administrations. And our conversations today remind us that leadership in this moment, especially in the moment of transition, must prioritize transparency, accountability, and the protection of fundamental freedoms. And I believe in Red Lantern that when those principles are weakened, democratic spaces are shrunken, and the most vulnerable are those who suffer the first. In today's conversations, we're also highlighted the interconnectedness of Bangladesh's role in international relations. What happens in Bangladesh is not an isolated from the wider world, but also it resonates with the broader debates about civic freedoms, electoral integrities, and the state accountability across the world, as Honorable former Minister of Education has mentioned. With that, on behalf of Red Lantern Analytica team, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speakers for sharing these insights so generously. Your expertise and lived experiences give weight to the discussions which often remain abstract from the media and the public. And thank you for guiding us through the complexities of issues with honesty and conviction. I would also like to thank our participants for joining across the timelines and across regions on this important conversations we held today. As we reflect on issues raised today, it is important to remember that the shared history binds India and Bangladesh. Our countries are not just neighbors. We are our cultural partners shaped by long tradition of solidarity, friendship, and mutual sacrifice. In the 1971 liberation wars, Indians and Bangladeshis stood shoulder to shoulder to fight in the Bangladesh independence. That legacy of courage and collaboration continues to guide our relationship even today. It is in honor of that shared history. We respect all those who have contributed to the struggle of freedom, and I conclude with the spirit that unites us across the generation. Jai Hind and Jai Bangla. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanchi. And thank you. And with due permission of the speakers, we can now bring this session to a close. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.